Good morning, Farah. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good morning.
Must be a busy time for you right now with this tape coming out and all sorts of attention focused on you, right?
It has been a little unexpected crazy, so yes.
Before I get into this tape, for people who are not familiar with Teen Mom and your story, some people may not know your story, but let's recap it quickly. You became pregnant at the age of 16, right?
Yes.
The father of this, it sounds like you had a tumultuous relationship with the guy who was the father of this child. Is that accurate?
Well, basically it was being young, and we were dating for over a year, and just some things kept changing. Like, he was into drugs and experimenting with things. So at the time, when I was more or less like really pregnant, we quit speaking for a little bit, and then he died in a car accident.
So when you were about 6 months pregnant when he died in a car accident at that point, and then you end up. How old were you when MTV came around and they put you on the Teen Mom show?
I was 5 months pregnant, and he actually died when I was 8 months pregnant.
Oh, okay, all right. So my info is a little bit off there. So you were 5 months pregnant. That's when they started. That's when they signed you up for this show. Um, and so they follow you around. It sounds like you've had a tough go of this, not only raising this child, but the relationship that you have with your mother sounds like that's very tumultuous as well.
Yes, it's always back and forth between my mother and I think it's because we have a lot of different views of life in general and a lot of different experiences. So it's kind of, you always need to work and make things better between us, is how I say it. We always work on our relationship between each other.
A lot of times, the older that they get, the more. I remember when I was a kid, of course, I hate you, mom, that kind of stuff. But then the older that you get, you sort of mellow out. Do you think that as the older you get, Farrah, that this relationship with your mother, you'll be able to patch up? What is it? What are these big differences that you have with her? Well, you said these different outlooks on life.
I go to counseling for these things till this day, and there's just some things that certain people include within, like, how they want to be, and if some things do not change to, like, care for others, then sometimes relationships cannot get better and cannot grow. So we're kind of just in the same spot that I've been in pretty much all 4 years of, like, after I've had my daughter, and it's just some things do not change. And I think I've changed so much about myself, and I've, moved away again, and I've just given myself space. And that's really the only time when we don't really fight, is when I completely just move away.
How
And I think that's kind of sad.
how do you think you've changed over the years? I mean, if you go back and you look at Teen Mom episodes from a few years ago, um, what do you think about that? What do you think of yourself? How have you changed?
I see myself just as a stronger, happier, more positive woman. And that's what I'm really happy about seeing. But I also am just a strong individual and, with business and other things now. And I see what the world is kind of about more. And there's a whole lot more for me to learn. But I just see like a way better person in all categories of growth in a person. I think I've accomplished a lot.
Now, Farah has this sex tape out. It's called Farah Superstar Backdoor Teen Mom, and it's going to be in stores on the 14th. Now, will you give me the honest answer on this? Because when it first came out, and they go, there were rumors about this sex tape of yours coming out. You said no, 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 or then it was, well, it was just a private thing, and some guy is leaking it. But now it sounds like the whole thing was pretty much planned out. What was the genesis of this sex tape? How did this come about, Farah?
Well, it is what you are already said. At first, of course, I was not wanting to talk about it because it is my personal video. It should have never been mentioned. The person I did the video with has some underlying issues and really wanted some recognition and some attention in the public, and I had to deal with that. So all legal issues have been dealt with. I definitely turned this, negative into a positive, and I sold the rights to Vivid. So it's in their hands, and, I mean, from what I'm hearing, everything's been doing exceptional. I know Vivid's happy, and I know I'm happy, so I'm just moving forward.
You didn't know that guy was a porn star?
I know he was a porn star.
You knew it?
So
Where did you meet him?
Yeah, how did you meet this guy?
I also have a friend. I have a couple of friends who also are in the adult entertainment business. And, when we were all talking and first, like, they have their sexy shots videos. And a lot of my other girlfriends who are not in the adult entertainment do. And I think it was just like, you know what? I'm 21 and I want to do my own stuff privately. And you can't really do that, I guess, at all. I guess just in my life anyways.
Well, I'll take you at your word for it. It's look, it's hard to. I've seen the 5-minute sort of teaser clip, and it's hard to believe that that's the way that it came about. But I'll take you at your word if that's what you're telling me.
Well, that's my life, so you can take it or leave it. It's okay.
How does so you already have a strained relationship with your mother. When she hears of this sex tape, what does she say to you?
When she heard of it, I was in the airport at the time, and she just had called me and was texting me, and I called her back. I just kind of needed a second to, I don't know. She was more or less like, what's going on? Like, I'm going to help you get through this. And she just wanted to know, what was going on and trying to figure it out. And I just was like, I don't know. I just cried because it's like, it was too much for me to deal with. It's like, I don't want to talk about, some things with my parents.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to talk about that with my parents either, I suppose, I guess.
I mean, like, growing up, my parents didn't really talk to me about, like, sex and those things. So, and then as I got older, it's like I learned a lot about their sexual stuff, and, like, I would just prefer not to hear about it. So I kind of, like, treat, my stuff like that.
Are your parents, was your dad around when you were growing up, or are they separated, divorced, or what's that story?
My parents got a divorce after I had my daughter, but they were together my whole life. It's kind of like cheating and, arguing my whole life. I mean, I had a great, I guess, upbringing. It's not like there was so much wrong with our whole family picture. It was just kind of more or less their relationship was back and forth too much.
What would you do? You have a daughter now, and
yes.
What would you do? How old is your daughter?
She's now 4.
4. What would you do differently if you, now that, I mean, you grew up in this household with your parents, what would you change about the way that you're going to raise your child as opposed to the way that you were brought up? I'm assuming if your daughter had got pregnant at the age of 15 or 16, you'd probably be upset, I'm guessing, even though you've done it. What would you change about the way you'll bring up your daughter?
I think I've changed a whole lot of how I parent, and that's why my parents and I don't really get along. I really try to stay away from arguing, fighting, bringing males over. A lot of things I do not condone, like my parents have done. And I completely separate my personal life from my parenting life, my business life from my parenting life. I do a lot of things to protect how well my daughter grows up. And I give her everything that she needs. Like, she's tested, like, even out of, like, she goes to private preschool. She's very intelligent, very smart. I talk to her like a real honest person would, so she can learn from everything. And so now she brings up her father's death. She tries, because she sees everyone else with a father. Mm-hmm. And she's like, Mommy, like, what's going on? And we always, for his birthday, for when we visit back home, I take her to his gravesite. We, pray. We, like, look at all of his videos. I show her her baby book and all of our pictures. I make sure that she is always aware and is getting the full honesty and truth of things so that she can evaluate. And I think, when I tell her things of, like, the sex tape, things of, your father's death, things of 16 and pregnant, the book I've written, all these things, so she understands and she can make her own choices. I know that she will not run into the same obstacles that I have. She will not make the same bad choices as I've had.
I know that it's probably you have a pretty big financial payday from this from Vivid Video, I'm assuming, from this sex tape. But does it worry you? You say that you're honest with your child. Does it worry you that 10 years from now or something, the impact that this could have on your daughter?
No, because it won't have an impact on my daughter. My daughter and I are more about our real life rather than everyone else talking about our life. So no.
Well, I think that's easy to say, but you know how cruel kids can be.
That's not easy to say. That's what I know as a parent I will make sure of. So I take that very serious, and I think it's more important and more serious in developing a child to talk more about the father and the missing of that and all these other situations that can really damage a person on the inside rather than sexuality. We talked about that.
Farah Abraham is on with us. I saw in one of these magazines that on the cover these plastic surgeries that you had done.
Yep.
How do you feel about yourself right now? Are you much happier with yourself and the operations or the procedures that you had done, and were you just self-conscious? Is that why you got the procedures done?
I really thought about the procedures before I did them, and I guess I was trying to just invest in myself because I wanted to, and I felt that I wanted to fix my nose. I wanted to enhance my breasts, and those are very common in women.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm wondering.
Yeah,
I guess
an odd thing. So I'm very positive about what I look like. I'm very happy on the inside, and like I said, I'm very happy to be in a whole different place from depression and grieving to just being a strong, happy individual and loving myself. I think that's a great place to be.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with people doing procedures. I was just wondering if it did work, if you feel much more confident and happy with your appearance now that you've got. Because sometimes I hear from people that they get it done and then they go, well, I thought I was going to feel better about myself, but now I just see something else of me that I don't like. So do you feel better now about yourself after you got all that done?
Yes, I truly feel better the whole way around.
Well, Farah Abraham, her sex tape is called Farah Superstar, Backdoor Teen Mom. This is available in stores on the 14th, and where can people go to purchase this? Online, I'm assuming, as well. But what website should people go to?
From what I know, I would only just check out vivid.com.
Are you able to tell us how much you got paid from Vivid to put this tape out?
I don't want to talk about any financials.
In the neighborhood of $1 million, or is that just ludicrous to even think that it's that high?
It's probably higher.
I heard 1.5.
Wow. So you must take a percentage of it then, not just a flat fee. You get some kickbacks for every sale. I hear that this thing has been viewed in the first 12 hours, someone told me it was viewed 2 million times.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still dating that guy, James Dean?
No.
Are you dating anyone right now, Farah?
No, I'm not. I don't really trust men, so I probably won't be dating for a while.
Well, I can't blame you for not trusting men. There's a lot of us are creeps. There's no question about that. Farah, all right, good luck with this video. I wish you the best of luck. I hope everything works out for you. You seem like a smart girl. I think there's like a dual personality sort of thing. Not personality, but you seem like a smart girl. I don't know if I question some of the decisions I suppose that you make, and I'm not quite sure that I buy this story about the way that the porno came out. But hey, if that's the story you're sticking to, I'll take your word for it. But I really do wish you the best of luck, Farah.
Thank you, Rover. Have a great day.
Thank you, Farah Abraham.